Welcome to The Outdoor Agent, where real estate and the great outdoors meet. I'm Dekota Oechsle, a real estate professional from Griffin, Georgia, with a passion for tracking down more than just the perfect property. Here, we're going to explore not only the world of real estate, but also dive into a bit of the outdoor life that I enjoy every chance I get. Whether you're here for real estate insights, a few laughs, or stories from the field, you're in the right place. So let's kick off this journey together. I want to start by sharing a bit about myself. My journey into real estate actually began in commercial development. I spent a decade working in Buckhead and around Atlanta, building commercial projects, industrial warehouses, and the like. There was a slow period between projects, and I'd started bringing books to work to help me fill the time. I was spending nearly 2 hours each way driving to work and back, and I'd spend the time listening to podcasts and reading books. And at the office, I would read books and pretty well make it obvious that I didn't have anything to do. Not that it was a big secret. No one had anything to do. But the particular book that really struck me was Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, if you've read it, you know it's packed with insights about building your own business and taking control of your future. But there was a line about creating your own dreams instead of just building someone else's, and that hit me like a freight train. In my office in Buckhead, I made the decision that I was going to change my career one way or another. You see, I'd been interested in real estate investing and real estate for years before I made this decision. I'd consumed Bigger Pockets ad nauseum. Did I mention I had a 2-hour drive each way? Yeah, I listened to Bigger Pockets on repeat. I wanted to be a real estate investor so bad so I would not have to drive to work 2 hours each way and make someone else's dream come true and not have time for my own. So I'd been talking about getting my real estate license, and I saw the opportunity with no work being done at my day job to, hey, while I'm sitting at the office, instead of reading books, why don't I take the real estate exam online? So that's exactly what I did. It took me about 3 months, not even really working hard, to get my license. And I might need to add this here, because what is it that motivates you to get something done? For me, sometimes I just have to open my mouth and create a deadline or tell someone I'm going to have something done by a certain time, when I hadn't even really made that decision for myself. So it actually happened, I was in the middle of my course, and I had a dentist appointment. And in the conversation with my dentist, in between her actually doing her job, I had told her that I was working on my real estate license. And I told everybody that was there. And someone asked me, well, when are you going to have it? Well, I didn't know at the time, but I told her that I was going to have it by the end of February. Now, granted, I haven't gone back to know exactly when this appointment was, but I know it was sometime around the 1st of January, and I had hardly only started the course. But I made that my personal goal to have my real estate license by the end of February. And between deer hunts and twiddling thumbs at the office, I got my course done, all 75 hours of it for Georgia. And I took the Georgia real estate exam and passed it on March 1st. I missed my goal by 1 day, but I'm not upset with myself because I did it. And you can do it too. So there's a little bit about me. We'll get more into that on future episodes, I'm sure. So why the name The Outdoor Agent? Well, I've always believed that if you can connect your work with what you're truly passionate about, it doesn't feel like work. For me, that means merging my knowledge of real estate with my love for everything outdoors, hunting, land management, and simply being in nature. The vision for this podcast is simple: to create a space where real estate and outdoor adventure come together in an entertaining, sometimes educational way. I'll be sharing stories from my own experiences, offering insights into the real estate market, and from time to time, having guests join to talk about both real estate and their outdoor life. So a little bit about my outdoor history. It's very short. I've only been hunting for a year. I grew up in an automotive household. Dad was an engine builder, and we spent all of our free time at the machine shop or at the racetrack. It wasn't until I was 29 years old when I was invited to go hunting with my father-in-law and brother-in-law. But I jumped in with both feet. I went and spent all the monies on a new rifle, all the camo, everything that is advertised of what you need to go hunting, because I didn't know what I was doing. All I knew is I was jumping into a new hobby and I was going all in for it. Well, it turns out I didn't need half the stuff that I bought, and it's just sitting in my tote that weighs about 100 pounds and may or may not ever be used. But I'll digress on that point. So what can you expect from this show? Well, I'm glad you asked. Each episode I'll have a bit of everything, some real estate insights, and maybe a story or two from my adventures in the field. And I don't mean just property showings, I mean real field work. Hunting stories, real estate tips, and tales that just happen. Because you never know what you're really walking into when you open up a door or go out into the field. On top of that, I'm looking forward to bringing on guests. I want to chat with folks in real estate who also have the connection to the outdoors. They'll be sharing their own stories, both real estate and outdoors. My hope is that these conversations will be engaging and give you a unique perspective on what it's like to work and play in these two worlds. Now, since this is the Outdoor Agent, it feels right to share a quick outdoor story that might give you a taste of what's to come. Opening day of rifle season in Georgia a couple weeks ago. The morning hunt was slow and a little cool. We had actually gotten the first cold snap after one of them hurricanes came through. I didn't see anything from my blind. I'd planted a food plot, and with all the drought and dry and no rain, it's hardly come up. We went and had lunch and came back, and I got in the blind pretty early, around 2:30, and it was hot. It had gotten up to mid-70s. But in my preparation, hurried, I might add, I had moved my blind to where it was dead center of the evening sun. It was 75 degrees outside and probably 90 inside. And I had still had my long johns on from the morning hunt, where it was cool. Needless to say, I had stripped a few layers all the way down to bare skin on my top half. And I was getting a little delirious because I had only brought one bottle of water for a 5-hour sit. And anyhow, the evening hunt for me was pretty slow. Didn't hardly see anything in the heat. As soon as the sun started going down, there was 4 rabbits that come out, and I watched them for about 30 minutes, eating on what little clover is still in my field. About 20 minutes before shooting light was ending, there was a few shots. A couple guys from camp had harvested 2 does, and the phone started blowing up in the group chat. Hey, I need help. So everyone started heading back towards camp after dark to see what they had harvested. Well, it was just 2 does, decent size. And anyhow, they run off and throw them on a trailer, and I'll just call them number 1 and number 2 hopped in their truck, and they took off to the processor. The rest of the guys, about 5 or 6 of us, stayed in camp, started grilling hamburgers and hot dogs, and I believe Georgia and Texas was playing. And if you're from Georgia, or a Georgia fan, I'm sure you have the same remembrance of that game as I do, where you was just waiting for Georgia to blow it. Well, they never did. But eventually, I got a phone call from number 2, who had ran off with number 1 in the truck towards the processor. And he excitedly told me that they had made it to the processor about 20 minutes down the road, and they had only had 1 deer on the trailer when they arrived. And in his excitement of blasting everybody else for not answering the phone, he made it pretty clear that I needed to get in my truck and run up to the main highway. You see, our camp is about a mile back on a rough county dirt road in rural middle Georgia. And when I say rough, I mean it is rough. So anyhow, I get off the phone, I'm laughing, and my father-in-law's there, and I just say, hey, they done lost a deer. We got to go see if it's in the middle of the road somewhere. So we hop in my truck and we start easing out towards the highway. Well, we never find it. We ease all the way to the highway, and there's nothing there. So we stop and call, and they say they had gotten it. What had happened is in a section of this dirt road, there was chatter marks from where the county had brought a bulldozer through. And I guess they were going a little bit too fast with that trailer, and they had literally bounced a 100-pound doe off of this trailer, and it was laying in the middle of the road. Luckily, it was just a rural county dirt road that hardly gets any traffic. It would have been really bad had they dumped it out on Highway 96, a 4-lane highway with heavy semi-truck traffic. That's really all I've got this year. I haven't been out to the woods since then. Been busy with real estate. But I plan on getting out this weekend and seeing what we can come up with. So that's a little bit about me, why we're here, and where I see this podcast going. My goal is to create a community, a place for people who love both real estate and the outdoors. And hey, maybe you'll find a few tips here that will help you in your next real estate deal or your next outdoor adventure. I'm not here expecting every listener to become a client, and that's not the point. This show is about building an organic audience of folks who just enjoy the content. Maybe down the line you'll think of me when you're ready to buy or sell a house, or you'll send a friend my way. But for now, just sit back, enjoy the stories, and we'll see where the journey takes us. Whether you're tracking trophy game, scouting for your next dream home, or searching for your next real estate investment, remember, every hunt has a story. And until next time, I'm Dekota Oechsle, the Outdoor Agent. Y'all have a good one.